Another view of the farm. That's worked. There's the vegetables we grew. Some of y'all may remember Waits Market. This guy grew up on a vegetable farm. He had the best vegetables anywhere. Well, this is a long time ago, and I always heard about Waits Market, so had this load of vegetables, and I decided I'd take them into that guy, see if we could sell him vegetables. And I finally tracked him down. He's really busy, and I told him I had some beautiful organically grown vegetables I wanted to show him. He said, "Fella, I've seen organic stuff. It's full of big wormholes and weevils and everything else." Turned around and walked off. Wouldn't even talk to me. I went home, I told Dell, I said, "That guy wouldn't even look at our stuff. He wouldn't even talk to me." She says, "I'll go in there." Well, she cheated. She perjured herself up. She found that guy, and he told her the same thing. She said, "Won't you at least come look at him?" Well, being a woman, he followed her out there. He said, "Lady, they're beautiful. What do you want for them?" She said, "Let's bargain." You don't want to bargain with her. She said, we're going to bring you the best. We want top market price, whatever you're paying for the best at Produce Terminal. We want cash every delivery, and we would like to have the container you want them packaged in, so you don't have to repackage. He said, "Lady, if you can do this, you got a good deal." And we had a good deal going until he retired and sold the store, and we retired farming anyway. And I went to visit that old gentleman last week. He's living down south toward Laredo. Boy, he was tickled to see Dale because they got along real good. There's a greenhouse. That's where we grew our bedding plants. Now, when I was just putting the finishing touches on this greenhouse, every time dignitaries come to the Extension Service in San Antonio, they got to go out and see what these fanatics are doing or these hippies are doing. You know, well, one day they were out, and I just putting the finishing touches on this greenhouse, and one of them said, "Beck, there's one thing you won't go organic with," and they all chimed in and guaranteed me nobody's ever gone organic with a greenhouse. I said, "Well, I'll try." Well, instead of putting concrete or gravel on the floor, I put wood chips out that thick. We made our own potting soil with cedar wood chips and compost and a few other things. We watered with fish emulsion and seaweed. Well, we grew stuff in that greenhouse, our vegetable plants in there since, well, we built that thing some 20-some years ago. Now, the wife does that, but now she got grandkids, she ain't even got time to do this. Anyway, there has never been a troublesome insect or disease in that greenhouse ever. No. None. Ever. We grow all kind of stuff in there. Wait a minute, let me go back to the greenhouse. Well, I finally figured out why. I've been to numerous greenhouses. They all had gravel or concrete floors. They were growing in peat moss and fertilizing with chemical fertilizers. Well, if you look out there in the woods, the most abundant thing in those plants in the trunk is carbon. All of the carbon in all of those plants comes out of the air. None comes out of the soil. A big tree, it's loaded with carbon. When you burn firewood, you're burning the carbon. Well, in these greenhouses that are glass and concrete and steel and chemical fertilizers, there is no CO2 release. If you keep those plants closed up in the wintertime, the most abundant thing they need next to water is carbon to make carbohydrates, to build stems and roots. And some of them never did figure it out. The plants were starving for carbon. They kept giving them all kinds of fertilizers. Well, we never ever had a disease or insect ever in that greenhouse. I helped a guy on the railroad get started in a big greenhouse operation growing tomatoes. He had a 6,000 square foot greenhouse. I made him get chicken manure, till it in deep for fertilizer, and I gave him wood chips to put in the aisleways. And he operated that thing 4 years. Every tomato is perfect, not a single insect or disease. I took some of them PhDs from A&M down there, and they start hammering him. What do you do for this disease? What do you do for the insects? I've never seen it, never seen it. I never could figure it out until I saw a picture of the stomata in a scientific magazine one day, and it told how it took air, the stomata open to take in air. It closes, it digests the carbon, the carbohydrates, and releases the oxygen for us to breathe. Then it dawned on me, well, yeah, a plant, the most abundant thing it needs next to water is carbon, and it all comes out of the air. And those guys were starving their plants to death for carbon, and that's why the insects and diseases were eating them up, because the plant was weak, sick. Now, if you want to catch June bugs and moths at night, this is a real simple trap. Get your little tub with a bail on it and fill it about 2/3 full of water, and then put some dishwashing soap or something in there, to break the surface tension. Then hang a 60-watt light bulb. and turn that thing on at dark, and the next morning you will have a tub full of soup, believe me. You can catch them all. And then dump it in your compost pile.
Yep.
It stinks for a while, but it all decays and is excellent fertilizer. Any questions? Ma'am?
How much soap do you put in the water?
Oh, ounce. Just dump some in there. See, the farmer's market? Oh, out at the Rose Emporium next door to us, they just started one. I think it's every Sunday. Do you know? Every Saturday. All right. Yeah. You can come to Gardenville, buy your compost, go to Rose Emporium and get your vegetables.
Question. Now you have the beneficial insects and stuff at your place?
No.
You don't?
No. You order them. If you call me, I can give you an address of phone number of 2 different operations, one in Texas and one in California.
Okay.
That will mail them to you. The question was, do we have beneficial insects? You can call me and I'll give you the addresses where you buy them.
This is all that we have.
All that way. Okay, here. These kids keep correcting. I ain't bringing y'all along anymore. This is products we carry. Doodle bugs or pill bugs. Those pill bugs, roly-polies, whatever you call them, they do feed on small plants. Now they're easy to catch. You take a straight-sided glass or cup or pint jar and sink it in the ground, level with the top, and drop a piece of bread or apple core or something in there, and they'll all crawl in there and they can't crawl out. And it keeps filling up. And then if you want to, you can squash them all and put them in a compost pile. Some people just say, I know one guy, he eats yogurt every morning, and the inside of that yogurt cup is slick, kind of plastic. He wipes it out, and he always puts it out there in his wife's flower garden. Bury it down where the top is level, top of the ground, and those bugs crawl off in there. You know, put a bait in there, and then they can't crawl out. A jar works real good. A pint jar works real good. And June bug is that light you just saw. Really catches those June bugs. Doodle bugs? Is that the one that makes the funnel? Those are good. Those are ant killers. The larva, the adult is a beautiful winged fly-like. A big, beautiful fly. It's in the bug book. But the thing that, the ants crawl in there and they flip dirt at it and then you catch the ant, cut the ant to and eat it.
Ant lion.
Ant lion.
Yeah.
Is there a way to keep mosquitoes away?
A way to keep mosquitoes away. Put up some Martin houses. That helps a little bit. Yeah, and make sure your screens are tight. And you can create a spot for the mosquitoes to breed. And then when they're laying their eggs and hatching everything, put some soapy water in there, oil or something. If you got water standing anywhere, put a little bit of some kind of oil that floats on top, and then the mosquitoes can't reproduce in it. What do you do for stink bugs? Don't squash them. I've had them, but I can't say that they've ever really been a problem. A guy named Sabino Cortez came up with a pesticide that is also a fertilizer, a foliar feed, and a soil conditioner, and it kills insects. But it kills the good and the bad. And we sell it as anti-fuego. We're calling it pesticide, but Geigy just wouldn't ever allow it to be put on the market. I worked with EPA for 3 years, and they all wanted to help me. And then all of a sudden, everybody turned bad. I worked with the EPA trying to get an exemption so I could, or an EPA number. And I kept getting passed off. And finally, the last guy I worked with, he says, you know what, I got a lady here they can't push around. So I called her. She was young, female, and black. She said, Mr. Beck, they ain't going to push me around. They didn't. But they come at me a different way. They said, okay, they're going to let me put it on the market, but they wanted to do a test to find out if it worked. And that test is going to take 1.5 years. and cost me $150,000. I said, all right, let's go. So then they decided, oh, we also want to do an efficacy test, find out if it's toxic and if it works or something like that anyway. And that's another $150,000, another year and a half concurrent. So it's going to take me 3 years and $300,000. Well, the Texas Department of Agriculture wanted that stuff on the market, a guy named Jim Bush.